I've been shopping at Aldi for years, and I thought I knew all the tricks to saving money there. But after digging into how this German discount chain actually operates, I realized there's so much more happening beneath the surface. Aldi isn't just a grocery store with low prices. It's an intricately designed system where every decision, every inconvenience, and every layout choice serves a specific purpose. Let me share what I've discovered. Let's start with something most shoppers never figure out: the timing of markdown stickers. Those bright orange and yellow tags offering 30 to 50% off don't just appear randomly throughout the day. There's a pattern, and Aldi relies on most customers never discovering it. A shopper I spoke with spent 2 months visiting her local Aldi at different times, carefully logging what she found. The pattern became unmistakable. Markdown stickers appear most consistently during two specific windows: early morning around 7 to 8 and early evening around 6 to 7. These times align perfectly with shift changes, when employees rotate through inventory management tasks and pull products approaching their sell-by dates. Here's what makes this so valuable: the products getting marked down are still perfectly good. Bread that expires tomorrow, produce that's softening slightly, meat that needs to move today. You can freeze the meat, toast the bread, and use the produce that evening, saving 30 to 50% on groceries that would otherwise end up in the dumpster. But there's an even better strategy that most markdown hunters miss completely. Shopping near closing time, around 8:30 to 8:45 at stores that close at 9, yields the deepest discounts. Employees have discretion on markdown pricing, and as closing time approaches, the priority shifts from maximizing profit to minimizing waste. A former employee confirmed that they were instructed to slash prices again before close if marked down. Items weren't moving. The people who figured out this timing pattern were getting groceries for almost nothing. The shopper I mentioned now visits Aldi twice weekly at 7 in the evening. She estimates saving an additional $80 to $100 monthly just from markdowns, on top of Aldi's already low base prices. That's over $1,000 annually from timing alone. Aldi doesn't advertise this because it would create rushes on markdown items. They'd rather let a few informed shoppers benefit quietly than deal with crowds fighting over discounted products. But markdown timing is minor compared to what's hiding in the pricing structure itself. The same product can cost 20 to 30% more or less depending on which state, sometimes which city, you're shopping in. Aldi adjusts pricing regionally based on local competition, cost of living, real estate costs, and what the local market will bear. They're not trying to be the cheapest everywhere on everything. They're trying to be cheap enough to win price comparisons in each specific market while maximizing their margins. A truck driver who shops at Aldi locations across multiple states documented this discrepancy on video. He photographed identical products with the same codes at stores in rural Ohio, suburban Chicago, and the Bay Area. Ground beef that was $3.49 in Ohio was $4.29 in the Chicago suburb and $4.99 in California. Eggs, milk, and cheese showed similar spreads. The pattern was consistent across dozens of products. If you live near a state border, the Aldi on the other side might be meaningfully cheaper. One border town shopper documented saving $15 to $20 per trip by driving 15 minutes to the next state's Aldi. Over a year, that's $780 to over $1,000 for the same groceries from the same company. Aldi doesn't advertise this regional pricing because it undermines their universal, low-price narrative. They want you to trust the price tag without questioning it. And if price manipulation surprises you, there's something even more deliberate about how Aldi makes it physically impossible to compare their prices to competitors. Walk into Aldi with a price comparison app and try to do a straight comparison with other grocery stores. You'll hit a wall almost immediately. Their cheese comes in 7-ounce blocks instead of the industry's standard 8. Yogurt in 5.3-ounce containers instead of 6. Cereal in 11.5-ounce boxes instead of 12. Crackers in slightly off-size packages. juice in non-standard volumes. These aren't manufacturing quirks. They're strategic decisions designed to create what retail consultants call comparison friction. When you can't immediately compare their 7-ounce cheese to an 8-ounce block elsewhere, you default to looking at total price. And total price almost always looks cheaper at Aldi. The non-standard sizing hides when it actually isn't cheaper per ounce. A data analyst who tracks per ounce pricing across multiple stores found that roughly 70% of the time, Aldi is genuinely cheaper per ounce. But 30% of the time, Aldi is just selling a smaller package at a lower total price. You're buying less product, not getting a better deal. The non-standard sizes serve a second purpose too. They reduce manufacturing costs. A 7-ounce cheese block uses less material, less packaging, and less shipping weight than an 8-ounce block. Those micro savings compound across millions of units into substantial cost reduction. Aldi benefits twice: lower production costs and the perception of lower prices even when the per ounce math doesn't always support it. Here's something else that frustrated me until I understood the strategy behind it. Your favorite products disappear and get replaced by something similar but slightly different. New packaging, new name, slightly different taste. This isn't a supply chain issue, it's deliberate. Aldi rotates suppliers relentlessly, always chasing the lowest cost. When a new manufacturer offers a better price for a product that meets Aldi's minimum quality standards, the old supplier gets dropped and the new product appears on the shelf, often in the same spot at the same price or slightly less. A former buyer explained that they'd get a better quote from a new supplier, do a quality comparison, and if the new product met specifications at a lower cost, they'd switch. The customer never knew because they just changed the label and put it in the same position. This happens constantly across the entire store with tortilla chips, coffee, snacks, canned goods, and cleaning products. The hidden benefit for Aldi is that this creates supplier competition. When manufacturers know Aldi will drop them for a cheaper quote, they're forced to keep prices razor sharp. The downside for you is that brand loyalty becomes impossible. You can't consistently buy the same thing because Aldi doesn't want you loyal to products. They want you loyal to prices. The limited selection at Aldi, roughly 1,400 products compared to 30,000 at a typical supermarket, is marketed as curated simplicity. Fewer choices, less decision fatigue, faster shopping. But here's the business reality. Every product Aldi carries must meet strict margin requirements. If an item doesn't generate enough profit relative to its shelf space, it gets cut regardless of how much customers want it. A former category manager revealed they had margin targets for every category. If a product was popular but low margin, they'd discontinue it and replace it with something less popular but more profitable. This means Aldi isn't necessarily stocking the best products. They're stocking the most profitable products that meet minimum quality thresholds. Their private labels, which make up 90% of inventory, have significantly higher margins than the name brands they could carry instead. The private label strategy isn't primarily about saving you money. It's about maximizing profit per square foot. Both things happen to be true simultaneously. They make more per item, charge less than competitors, and still come out ahead because they've eliminated every other cost in the business. The store layout itself is another engineered system. Dairy and eggs, the staples most people came for, are at the back of the store. To reach them, you walk past seasonal displays and specialty items, all high-margin categories. In a 12,000 square foot store, every aisle matters. The treasure hunt feeling of their specialty section isn't an accident. It's designed to trigger unplanned purchases before you reach your planned ones. Internal data suggests shoppers buy an average of 3 to 4 unplanned items per trip. At $3 to $7 per item, that's $10 to $30 of spending engineered by the layout. The seasonal displays rotate positions weekly. This isn't to keep things fresh for you. It's to prevent autopilot. If you could walk the exact same route every trip, you'd stop noticing the displays. Moving them forces your eyes to re-engage. One disciplined shopper shared that she enters from the back when the store layout allows it, grabs dairy, meat, and produce first, then browses specialty items only if she has budget remaining. Reversing the intended route saves her $30 to $40 monthly in impulse purchases. Aldi cashiers scan at roughly double the speed of typical grocery store cashiers. That legendary speed, over 1,200 items per hour, isn't just about labor efficiency. It's about preventing the moment of reconsideration. At normal checkout speed, items pass slowly enough that you might glance at something and think you don't actually need it. At Aldi speed, that moment never arrives. Items fly past. You're scrambling to keep up in reactive mode rather than evaluative mode. A former cashier described being timed on every shift, with management watching the numbers daily. The speed isn't optional. The separate bagging counter extends this effect. You're packing quickly to clear space, aware of the next customer waiting. You're not reviewing your receipt or second-guessing purchases. You're just trying to get your groceries into bags and get out of people's way. One shopper started reviewing her receipt in her car before leaving and found items she didn't remember choosing, prices that scanned wrong, and purchases she regretted. The speed of checkout prevented her from catching any of it in the moment. Aldi's return policy sounds generous. Return any private label product for a full refund and a replacement. Money back, plus a free product. In practice, it's engineered with just enough friction that most people never use it. You need your receipt, and most people don't keep grocery. Receipts. You need to physically return to the store with no digital process or mail-in option. You must select a replacement item from current stock during the same visit. None of these barriers are unreasonable individually, but combined, they create enough inconvenience that most dissatisfied customers simply eat the loss. A former store manager was candid that corporate wants the generous policy for marketing, but also wants low return rates for shrink control. The friction achieves both. When products sell out at Aldi, most customers assume poor inventory management. It's actually intentional. Aldi deliberately understocks relative to predicted demand on certain items. When products sell out quickly, it trains a behavior. Buy it when you see it because it might not be there tomorrow. They'd rather sell out and lose some potential sales than overstock and carry excess inventory. The carrying costs they avoid are worth more than the sales they lose. The psychological effect is powerful. When you've experienced a product being gone multiple times, you stop buying one. You buy 3. You stockpile. You've been conditioned by scarcity, real or engineered, to purchase more than you need in the moment. Their specialty items take this to the extreme, marketed as limited time even when they could theoretically source more. One shopper described her breakthrough after tracking restocking patterns for 3 months. Most items come back within 1 to 2 weeks. The scarcity is often temporary, not permanent. Once she realized that, she stopped overbuying and saved $40 to $50 monthly. Here's the secret that ties everything together. The cart deposit, the bag fees, the lightning-fast checkout, the separate bagging counter, the limited selection, the stockouts, the non-standard package sizes, the regional pricing, the supplier switching, the store layout, the return policy friction. None of these are accidents or oversights. Each one is a deliberate transfer of cost or labor from Aldi to you. The cart deposit eliminates cart retrieval labor. The bag fees eliminate bag costs. The fast checkout minimizes labor hours per customer. The bagging counter eliminates checkout bagging labor. The limited selection slashes inventory management overhead. You are not just a customer at Aldi. You are an unpaid participant in their cost reduction system. The quarter cart feels quirky. Bagging your own groceries feels European. The limited selection feels curated. But each of these is work you're performing, or an inconvenience you're absorbing, that a traditional grocery store would handle with paid labor. Here's the math that makes it worthwhile. You save 30 to 40% on groceries compared to traditional stores. In exchange, you do about 10 to 15 minutes of additional work per trip and accept various trade-offs in convenience and choice. One shopper calculated it honestly. She saves about $300 monthly at Aldi, while spending roughly 2 to 3 extra hours monthly on Aldi-specific tasks. That works out to $100 to $150 per hour in savings. By any measure, that's worth it. For most people, the trade is overwhelmingly favorable. But Aldi's model depends on you making that trade unconsciously, not consciously. They want you to feel the savings without calculating the cost. The point isn't that Aldi is bad. Aldi is brilliant. They've built one of the most efficient grocery models in America, and it works because customers willingly participate without fully understanding their role. Now you understand it, and that understanding makes you a more informed shopper who can maximize the benefits while minimizing the trade-offs.